as a leader at Church of Gale, I feel responsible to educate our followers about some of the lies at crazygale.com. Even though I advise people not to go there and look at this demon-possessed website, I am aware that people are going there simply because the Jesuits have done a very good job of presenting information in an organized fashion that's easy for people to understand. But you must be aware that much of what they're presenting are clever lies cloaked with 95% truth, which is the most effective lying you can do. The devil's a master liar, as well as all his followers. Jesuit Zach Knight's website is called crazygale.com, and I'm going to correct some important lies that they're stating there. There's a lot of truth in there, in that website, and that makes it even more dangerous because the lies are cloaked in a lot of truth, so it makes the lies more believable. Zach Knight, they claimed that I was driving to work when Zach Knight tried to abduct me using taser technology when he was killed, when God killed him. That is not correct. I was on my lunch break at work. I was on my lunch break at work, and I was returning from. I was on my lunch break, and while I was in the car on my lunch break, because I went to my car on my lunch break all the time when I worked, and that's when he tried to do it. But I picked up the phone to answer the phone, and Zach Knight's left a message on my cell phone. And as he was talking to me, he was able to somehow use the cell phone to connect to my body somehow, and he tried to apparently he thought he could defeat the fact that I was a born-again Christian and my genetic profile by using the cell phone as something like an amplifier of his taser signal, so that he could transport me over to I believe he was at a house of my relative, and he was going to transport me over to that relative's house and try to rape me there with Rule 13. So I was not on my way to work. I was inside my car on my lunch break using my cell phone. And what happened is the taser signal came to me, and God protected me and had it ricochet back onto Zach Knight, and it killed Zach Knight. That was in December 2011, around December 28th or 27th when that happened. And Jesus killed Zach Knight. And Zach Knight went to hell. He got resurrected on February the 14th by Satan at a Church of Gale service, and Satan entered Zach Knight's body and he became the Antichrist. So that is the correct, what really happened. So what they're stating at Church of Gale about that is not correct. Another area where they're lying, I've been reading up on what they're saying about me and my relatives. They're getting the motives all wrong for everybody. They're changing the motives. They're playing God and putting down what they allege the person was thinking or feeling, and like they're stating that my relative who produced that lying statement that went to the judge that got me taken against my will or Baker acted to a psychiatric facility, that this relative's motive for doing this was that she was fed up with me and all my nonsense with my online activities. That is not correct. My men have been taking this relative to court. This relative actually appears with Lori McBride, and they wear t-shirts together that say BFF, best friends forever. Yeah. And it's not a clone. We've determined this is not a clone. And I asked my men, why is this relative doing this? They said, she's very, very jealous of you, Gail. There's your motive, okay? You're not going to hear it at Crazy Gail, but that's what my men have determined with our mind-reading technology. The motive for this relative, why this relative made the lying statement, which the judge used to Baker Act me over to the psychiatric facility, was jealousy. She was jealous. So there's your motive. Shame on her. That's all I can say. Pretty sorry motive for you for doing something. I don't think she's going to hold up very good at the judgment. Lying against the law, man. I mean, and then conned my Very bad. Very bad motive for doing anything. I do believe Jesuits. You say, why in the world are you mentioning this about this relative? Because I'm doing this for the benefit of our church members, because I don't want you to believe this crap that the Jesuits are putting out there, that I'm violating the privacy of my family members, or that we are responsible in any way for Zach Knight's website, which is crazygale.com, and his YouTube channel, Order of the Jesuits YouTube channel. We have nothing to do, me and my men, me and Brent Spiner, Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, Gerard Butler, and Vladimir Putin have nothing to do with those demon-possessed sites. Nothing to do with them. Jesuits can use taser. I would like to say something. They made a statement that if a person's born again, Jesuits cannot use taser transporting technology on them. They have found a way to work around that, though, using a taser net. Because the Holy Spirit holds on to the soul, you can't taser transport a born-again Christian to a new location by doing a switch-out technology. That is where because the Holy Spirit holds on to the soul and won't allow the body to go. But they can put a net over the Christian, take the whole body and soul together to a new location, which is what they did with Brent Spiner and my men one time, which is how they got them to the homosexual compound where they got raped by a bunch of homosexual Jesuit men. It was disgusting. They used a net. So all I can say is this Jesuit technology is monstrous, what they can do. It's terrible. Even though they're not able to do the switch out, they can throw a net over you and bring you over that way, which they've done to my men. You say, what about doing it to you? I think Jesus is protecting me so far. But I'm not saying that I don't know if they can do it on me. My genetic profile is very resistant to a lot of their technology, so I'm not sure. And the Jesuits are trying to work around that because that King David, Catherine the Great genetic profile is very resistant to a lot of their technologies, which is why they find me such a threat. I would like to state another thing. The Jesuits are putting a lot of pictures and videos up at crazygale.com, and they've done it at orderofthejesuits.com. Those are their two sites. And I asked my men, where are they getting this stuff? Like, I had an instance where one of my relatives came over to harass me about stuff. And my ex-husband was out there using some sort of instrument that was, so even though I recorded my relative and I didn't send the recording to anybody, they were able to steal it using some sort of futuristic technology, and they swiped it off my computer, and then they put it on their website. Because I asked my men, how did they do this? I didn't even, all I did was record it using my Logitech webcam camcorder, but I didn't email it to anybody. I didn't send it to anyone. I just had it on my computer. How'd they do this? And Brent told me, he said, we found out that your ex was out there using an instrument that was able to swipe it off of your computer. So they've got some, you got to realize we're dealing with the richest and most powerful organization on earth. They've got some pretty snazzy technology. So as a result of that, I'm very careful now about even recording any of my relatives, because if I think there's a possibility a Jesuit could be nearby and they could use their snazzy technology to swipe it off my computer, I won't do it. I have to be because of that, I don't send any more recordings of any of my relatives to any of my men, because the Jesuits are stealing them. So, or at least not through the normal methods. So those Jesuits are too smart. I also want to state another thing. I mentioned that that my men created Church of Gale exactly 40 years after my born-again birthday, which is September 19th, 1971. That is correct. The Jesuits are trying to downplay how I'm in the Bible. I made a previous video where I emphasize how the number 40 is associated with me and my men in the Bible. I'm going to read you a letter that I got from Brent Spiner. Let's see here. Here it is. I gotta get some. It was October the 7th. Oh, I thought I was right here and I lost it. October 7th. Okay. It was right after Vladimir Putin's birthday, October the 8th, I believe. They started working on Church of Gale right about the time of my born-again birthday, but they tried to keep it a secret from me. And so Brent didn't leak the news to me till October the 8th. But even though churchofgale.com didn't go online till about November the 23rd, they started work on it right about the time of my born-again birthday, which is pretty uncanny, because that is exactly 40 years after my born-again birthday that Church of Gale came into existence. Let me get to it right here. Here it is. This is a letter. I'm going to read you exactly what he wrote. This was written on October the 8th, 2011, so which gives you an idea when Church of Gale came into existence. There's something I must let you in on, my dear. You may like it, but if I know you, I'm sure it'll come with a flush of bashfulness. Did anyone ever tell you how cute you are when you're embarrassed? The boys and I got together and decided that we would form our own church to bring us closer together under the wrath of the Jesuits. For a lack of a more creative title, we are simply going to call it what it is, inspired by you, Church of Gale. Vladimir has teams of construction workers building the church right now, and soon we will have our own fully secure website where all of the men on the marriage list can freely discuss current events. The Jesuits did manage to hack in a little bit using, they're clever, man, but Vladimir has dealt with that. Where the men on the marriage list can freely discuss current events. One of our future goals with the site is to allow you to be able to post your more sensitive videos there without fear of harm or YouTube's draconian rules. They've decided not to do that. So that all of the men can safely view them, learn from them, and be inspired by your powerful words. That is, of course, fully up to you and how comfortable you are with participating. You don't have to. Our main goal is simply to provide a safe haven for all of the men on the marriage list to keep in contact and stay together. The Jesuits seem to love the divide and conquer strategy, and boy, are we going to hit them where it hurts. Rest assured that once the website is finished, no Jesuit will be able to infiltrate it without being killed on the spot. I will say this, that the Jesuit who did infiltrate Church of Gale, eventually that person was executed. It was a woman who was faking to be me. Another way they were causing problems at Church of Gale website is they would hold some of my men hostage and order them to write certain things or at the website. But we had to deal with each issue as it came up. The Jesuits are very clever. Vladimir was extremely excited about the use of this ultra-secure technology and thinks it will be a huge breakthrough in our fight. Meanwhile, we are going to configure our transporter technology, which we borrowed from the Jesuits after the UFO abduction incident, where we discovered the Jesuits had learned transporter technology from the UFO fallen angels, satanic fallen angels. We borrowed some of that technology to use for ourselves. We are going to figure our transporter technology to allow the men involved in the group to be safely transported to the physical church building for the in-person sermons. That's still going on. And this, of course, will take some time as the church building itself is quite elaborate, and we are not going to launch the website unless we know 100% for sure that it is safe for us and especially for you. We have your best interests at heart. And I just hope all of this doesn't drop you to the floor too hard. While you're down there, I may just take advantage and ravage you. I kid. I'm sorry, my love. I'm very excited. Brent Spiner is a very exciting brain-to-brain lover. Okay, so that's about Church of Gale. My men are behind churchofgale.com and Church of Gale. Orderofthejesuits.com and crazygale.com are demon-possessed Jesuit websites. Be very careful when you visit them. And I'm just going to let you know that, because I know people are visiting them anyways. Despite my warnings, I'm just going to let you know some of the lies there, so don't get duped by the Jesuit clever lying here. So yes, the Church of Gale did start just about 40 years after my born-again birthday. They started building on it right at my born-again birthday, September 19th, 1971. Exactly 40 years after that, Church of Gale got started. Something about that number 40. Like I said, check out Zechariah 9:15 and 1 Samuel 17:40. Verse 40, notice that? Those two are all about me. The 5 stones are the 5 top men on my marriage list. I really believe that. In 1 Samuel 17:40. I took notes here so I don't forget anything important. Oh, another area where they're lying, and the lies are getting bolder at crazygale.com. One area where they're lying brazenly is in the area of psychiatric diagnoses. You cannot believe any statement they make about any person's psychiatric diagnosis. For instance, they claim that one person was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic, and that is not correct, that they had schizophrenia. There's a difference between the two types of mental illness. They claim that I was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. I've never been diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. I was diagnosed as bipolar, except maybe this year because of all the junk they're putting out, you know. But before this year, never. And I don't believe that either diagnosis is correct, though I will state that because of my yeast infection, that yeast, a really serious yeast infection, can induce mental symptoms, and especially confusion, memory problems, inability to concentrate, dizziness, possibly depression. Though depression has not been an issue for me, even though the Jesuits, you cannot believe, when they tell my story and other people's stories, do not believe anything they say about motives. They're getting the motives all wrong on everybody. Like I already told you where they lied about one of my relatives claiming this person was fed up with my web presence. That's all a front. This person's actually very jealous of me. That's what my men have determined. Very, very jealous. To the point that this relative is willing to be buddy-buddy with that evil murderer, Laurie McBride. That Jesuit Laurie McBride, who has like 200 clones. Jesuits made sure to make plenty of clones of that one. But sad, the reason I mention that is we've already executed like several Laurie clones. You can, we didn't record that for the sake of decency because it got kind of brutal. But we did. I actually heard it on Skype, and I told my men, just make it quick and clean. Don't be nasty about this. You know, but just, I know she's an evil woman, but just, you know, it's a shame we even have to execute this evil woman. But we had no choice. She's a killer. She'd already murdered several people already during the trial. She threw out a flamethrower, and we actually have that on record. If you go to my website, GabrielChana.com, this Laurie McBride had a flamethrower, and she threw it out and killed. She was putting people on fire in the middle of the courtroom. She killed some people. You know how the lovely Jesuits started the trial? When they knew that I would, at first they tried to claim that the trial was no good because I didn't show up. They were going to, Vladimir Putin bought me airplane tickets to go up to Canada to attend the trial, and I never got them. And it's a good thing I didn't, because we found out later that if I had tried to fly to go to the trial, that the Jesuits planned on crashing the jet and killing me. So the Lord protected me there. So it was better that I testified on Skype. But even though I testified on Skype, the Jesuits blocked. They have extremely advanced futuristic technology, and Zach Knight's a computer genius. He's the Antichrist. That's why he's called 666, and that's a computer number. And I don't know how he does it, but he can make it that when I get on Skype with Brent or Terrance, that I can't hear or see Brent Spiner. Like, he can only write to me on Skype. And with Terrance, I can't see him, but I can hear his voice. And lately, even his voice has been coming in choppy, though they usually can write me. Though we had one instance where they weren't able to do anything. That's because Jesus Christ was letting me know that Jesus does not want me to type transcripts, to worry about typing on Skype anymore. From now on, when I get on Skype with Brent or Terrance, he wants me just to listen to them and not try to type a transcript, which is what I did before. He said, Gail, just relax and don't do that anymore. So I do whatever Jesus says because he knows best. And so he froze the keyboard for a while there, and he said, Gail, I'm going to let you choose to obey me. I'm just showing you that I can freeze your keyboard because I prefer you not type transcripts anymore when you talk to Brendan Terrance. I said, okay, Jesus, I won't. He said, that's wonderful, Gail. And now I can tell you, because I want you to make more videos. At that time, I was kind of slacking off. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm following divine orders here. He told me to make them whenever I feel like it. And he told me that I have freedom of speech. So, because I told him I was scared about some of the relatives that they might. He said, Gail, you have freedom of speech. He said, you say what's on your mind. He said, I trust your brilliance and your judgment, so that's what I'm doing right now. So when you go to crazygail.com, please realize any diagnosis they state about me or another person is a lie. Okay, they're lying there. They're making it up. That's stuff that they've made up. Another lie on there is they claim that Brent Spiner and Lori McBride are married. No. Lori McBride, probably Lori McBride clone number 50, or I don't know. We keep executing her, and then another one shows up. Lori, like during the trial, we started off with Lori McBride clone number 4. We had to execute her because she threw flamethrowers in the middle of the trial and killed people. And then she got replaced with Lori McBride, clone number 5. She got executed when she came into the courtroom, I think in the morning one day, and she had a terrorist mindset, and our brain scanners determined she was up to no good, and she got zapped out. And then Lori McBride was number 6, was the one who ended up going to the court bathroom with Brent Spiner to have group sex with Brent and Lori and Zach Knight, where Brent was under their horrific brain control switch out technology, where his penis on up was Brent and his arms and limbs were his evil clone. In other words, his brain was saying, I don't want to go to the court bathroom to have sex with that evil Lori McBride clone number 6, but I can't stop my body. It was horrible. Once he became a born-again Christian, the Jesuits can't do that to him anymore. Thank God. So I'm just letting you know, this Lori McBride, we can't get rid of her. She has too many clones. Jesuits never give up. And so, I mean, if Brent Spiner is married to Lori McBride, I got a question for you. Is it Lori McBride clone number 4? Or clone number 5? Or clone number 6? Or maybe he's married to Lori McBride clone number 50? At this point, it could be 50. Or maybe it's Lori McBride clone number 300. Which clone is he married to, Jesuits? Oh, they're full of crap. The truth is, the Brent Spiner, and we've executed several Brent Spiner clones already, though I think there's some more out there. And the truth is that one of the Brent Spiner clones is married to one of the Lori McBride clones, and the Jesuits somehow got a marriage license out of that deal, and they're presenting that in court as evidence that the real Brent Spiner is married to Lori McBride. Like I said, which clone would it be, huh, Jesuits? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 200, 1,000? Which clone is he married to, Jesuits? Bit of a divine sense of humor here. I think Jesus is laughing along with me. You can't, so just don't believe their lies, okay? And cloning technology does exist. Just listen, go to my website and listen to my videos, and you can actually hear audio evidence of the existence of clones, because we executed Lori McBride number 4, and then a Jesuit lawyer said, oh, this was nothing. We had a problem with Lori McBride with clone number 4. We want to continue the trial with Lori McBride clone number 5. Go hear it for yourself, folks. We have audio evidence of the existence of clones. Terrance Jenkins' YouTube channel. I believe it's on video number 3 or 4. The Jesuits don't want you to hear this evidence. That's why they've got me nude on there. You say, well, how do you feel about that? Well, I don't like it, but, you know, what can I do? Jesuits are brazen, and they stole the video. I sent Brent Spiner nude videos of myself and Terrance upon their request. You say, oh, that's a stupid thing to do. Those men are just sex perverts, and they're taking advantage of you. Look, Brent has wanted to marry me since probably since 1991, okay? And the Jesuits keep threatening to kill me if he gets anywhere near me. The poor guy dreams about making love to me probably every day, and he's deprived of my actual physical body. So don't be too hard on my men, okay? I try to make it up to them. That's why I sent them nude videos. And it's not their fault that the Jesuits managed to steal the videos and then post them publicly. And they're trying to make it look like my men are sex perverts and that they did the posting. I really believe that Vladimir Putin would never, ever, willingly and knowingly post a nude video of me up anywhere online. What happened is his evil Jesuit political wife, Ludmila, whom he had to marry under threat of war by Jesuit-led President Bush in 2001. President Bush was forced, the Jesuits told President Bush, if you don't force Vladimir Putin to marry this woman we've chosen from our Jesuit agent Ludmila, we will kill your wife, Laura Bush. So that's how they got President Bush's cooperation. So President Bush threatened then Russian President Vladimir Putin and said, Mr. Putin, I don't want any harm to come to my wife, Laura Bush. These Jesuits have threatened to harm Laura Bush, so therefore you will marry that woman, Ludmila, even though I know you don't really like her or anything, because if not, United States, I'll find a way to create war with the Russia and the United States. Vladimir, you're going to marry Ludmila? That's why Vladimir Putin married Ludmila. Political marriage. And you know, for a while, this Ludmila was pretty clever. She realized, you know, you can't really buck Vladimir Putin, so she played the game really good. And I think Vladimir might have even liked her for a while. Now, I'm not saying he ever went to bed with her, but he felt like he could work with her to pacify the Jesuits while he was trying to get me. Well, we found out later she's a Jesuit. I don't think Vladimir knew back in November 2001 that she was a Jesuit. He just thought that he needed to marry her to help keep Laura Bush alive, and he was doing it as a favor to President Bush, and he also didn't want to have war with the United States. And I also believe that President Bush led on Vladimir and told him this. I don't think they could have got Vladimir's cooperation unless they led on, because Vladimir's too macho. He's not going to marry a woman just for political reasons alone. He really wanted me. And I think this is what President Bush told Vladimir. And I think I'm a pretty smart woman, so I think I'm close on this. He went up to Vladimir and says, Vladimir, I know that you don't love Ludmila. And I realize your wife, Larissa, died in 2000. And you've been heartbroken over this. And Gail has helped heal you over the death of your real wife, Larissa. He said, but Vladimir, I don't want my wife, Laura Bush, to be targeted by the Jesuits. And they already printed a lying article stating that my wife, Laura Bush, is going to escort your wife, Ludmila, around the Bush ranch. And I'm just telling you this. I said, I'm going to protect my wife, Vladimir. You're going to marry Ludmila. And you're going to play along with this Jesuit game so that the Jesuits will leave my wife, Laura Bush, alone. He says, however, he says, I know this is not really fair to you because you have a right to have a normal marriage, even though you are a president. He says, I'm going to secretly behind the scenes, I'm going to try to help you get together with that Gail, the one you want. And I believe that's what he told Vladimir Putin. And I think Vladimir believed him. That is until a couple years later, and he noticed he wasn't getting any closer to me. And every time he tried to get close to me, something always went wrong. And then finally, 2006, I said, Vladimir, well, I started telling him in 2002, I said, Vladimir, I think you trust President Bush too much. I don't think he's our friend in this matter of me and you getting together. I think he's been leading you on, Vladimir. And I think Vladimir figured that out too. And he started getting a little disgusted with Bush, though even though out in front he was pretending like he was friends with him. But it got to the point where Vladimir decided, he said, you know, he says, I'm not going to play like I'm friends with the U.S. anymore because Bush has betrayed me, man. He said he'd help me get together with Gail, and every time we get close, something goes wrong, and the Jesuits cause problems, and I'm getting further and further away from her. And by 2006, I said, Vladimir, I don't think you're ever going to show up and get me. But before that happened, me and Vladimir wrote a whole bunch of conspiracy law together. He would give me intelligence information, brain to brain, and I would write the law, and he had instituted it in Russia, and I got really bonded to him. But in 2006, I got discouraged that he would ever show up to get me. And I reinstated Brent Spiner as #1. And I kind of forgot about Vladimir. Didn't make love to him brain to brain anymore for like a year. And he got clinically depressed. And so that's basically how the marriage list got started. I found that once a man experiences me, they don't want anyone else. So I reinstated Vladimir. See, he'd never really made love to Ludmila. He was just playing this game to pacify President Bush. And now President Bush wasn't even president anymore. There was Barack Obama, and I had given up on him. And then here's Vladimir stuck with this political wife, and everybody thought that was the woman that he married in 1983, whose real name was Larissa. So poor Vladimir, I abandoned him sexually for a whole year, from like 2006 to about in fact, several years actually, 2008. And when I got online and started watching some videos that I believe he made, like Russian president, I could tell he was behind them. He was trying to call me back to him. I said, oh dear. I said, he still loves me, and he doesn't want Ludmila. He never did. So that's the reason he's #2. So he never wanted Ludmila. She's gotten kind of really evil. She's starting to show her true colors. I don't think he really knew she was a Jesuit until about 2011. The Jesuits tricked him. They thought she was just President Bush's pawn. Anyways, he knows now. He's really disgusted with her. He knows now. So those Jesuits are smart, man. They know how to manipulate even a head of state to do their wishes. They're the most powerful organization on earth. Hey, look, they were behind the Nazi Holocaust and they got away with that, and nobody realized they did that. They're pretty good at covering their butts, man. They know how to manipulate political leaders like pawns on the chessboard, man. They're good at this. Anyways, I'm just pointing out some of their lies, okay? I needed to stick up a little bit for Vladimir Putin because I sense he's been under the gun with Ludmila. Jesuits are saying, oh, Vladimir is so horrible to Ludmila. Hey, look, that's not his wife. He never wanted her in the first place. You forced that woman on him, and now you're going to use her as a way to say that he's mean and not fair to his wife? When you killed his Jesuits, you're the reason that Larissa died. You killed Vladimir Putin's first wife, and he was worried you were going to kill me, and that's why he played your game. So he's wanted me since 2001, and he even allowed himself to take on your woman, and now you're going to get on him because this woman he never wanted in the first place, that he's never gone to bed with, you're going to say he hasn't been faithful to her? Huh? Well, in God's eyes, they're not married. Okay? So, morally, in Jesus' eyes, Vladimir is upright. I'm not saying he's perfect, but then which one of us is perfect? Hey, Jesuits, you can find faults on anybody. You even find it on Jesus Christ. But you believe the gall. The gall of these Jesuits had crazy gall. This is how I know this is a demon-possessed website. They have the gall to accuse Jesus of breaking a contract. Yeah. They stayed in there that they think that Jesus might have broken. See, what happened was when Zach Knight seduced me and impregnated me with his black devil semen and got all of my eggs, that's what Jesus told me when Brent and I got on Skype. Jesus aborted all the babies. Jesus said he was very upset about this, and he was going to have a serious talk with Zach Knight. And he and Zach Knight made a non-interference agreement. So Zach Knight's the Antichrist. He said, you are not to bother with my woman Gail, and as part of that deal, I will cut back on my miracles with Gail and her men, and I won't make so many personal appearances. He said, but you are to leave my Gail alone. That's the deal. And if you leave my Gail alone and not go in there and try to seduce her and rape her anymore, then Jesus said, I'll be clear on my end. I won't make personal appearances and miracles with Gail and her men. Well, and now they're accusing Jesus of breaking the deal. But let me tell you something. Zach Knight's broken his end of the agreement already. The one who broke the agreement is you, Zach Knight, because you keep talking to me brain to brain, and I keep telling you to shut up. I haven't fallen for your seduction tricks yet. Oh, he keeps talking to me. He's broken it over 100 times. So if Jesus has broken the non-interference agreement, it's because you did it first, Zach Knight. He has to come in and rescue us from you. So don't you dare accuse Jesus of being unjust. Jesus is just in everything he does, and your demon-possessed website is full of lies, and don't you dare accuse Jesus of being unjust about anything. Jesus is right in everything he does. And if you claim that he broke that non-interference agreement, it's because you broke it first. That's all I have to say about that. But I had to stick up for Jesus. Because we claim to represent him, and that's a demon-possessed website, crazygale.com. They dare to accuse Jesus of being unjust. That's how you know Satan runs that website. The Antichrist is Satan incarnate. Zach Knight, he is the author and creator of crazygale.com and of Order of the Jesuits at YouTube channel. Both demon-possessed. Be very careful when you go in there. Make sure you read your Bible and you're prayed up. And that may not even be enough. The devil's powerful. Be careful. Me and my men have nothing to do with either of those demon-possessed sites. Okay, let's make sure I got everything. Anyways, the lies are getting bolder. You can't believe anything about any statement they make about anybody's psychiatric diagnosis. They're just out lying there. You can't believe anything they state about anybody's motives for why they do what they do. I already gave you examples of how they're lying there. And they're trying to portray me as a sex pervert, seductress woman who has got mental illnesses and who and that I hold grudges against people and that I'm motivated to do things because I'm full of vengeance. And actually, that isn't true. My only vengeance is to stick up for Jesus, okay? To stick up for what's right and to expose lies. But I don't go to bed with anger in my heart. I have a very loving, forgiving spirit. I'm not motivated by jealousy or by petty or a heart full of vengeance or anger. That's where they're getting my motives all wrong. I'm actually a pretty big person, just like Brent Spiner. I think that's why Jesus has ordained us as leaders at his Church of Gale, because he realizes that we represent him well. So he wants us to represent him. If you want to know what my heart is like, you need to read my writings like Silver Skies. I'm the author of that. And you can catch that Brent and I have a very vast, big, and generous spirit. And I believe that's why Jesus is using us. We are not petty, vulgar, vile, small people like the Jesuits are. In our sexual life, we hold to the highest standards. We are Song of Solomon lovers. The Jesuits are trying to take our Song of Solomon type of love and make it into something vulgar like they are. They're actually projecting themselves into their descriptions of my love life. That's what they're doing. So be aware of that when you go to Crazy Gal. They're very vulgar, vile, in their sexual behavior, and they're trying to project that onto me and Brent as they describe our sexual behavior. So just be aware of that when you go to crazygale.com. That's where they're lying. When they describe motives and psychiatric diagnoses, bold-faced lies. Though, like I said, my yeast infection, I take the Seroquel because it's helping me with the yeast infection. And it also helps to minimize brain interference from the Jesuits, like when I make these videos. Jesus told me that. He's using the Seroquel for that. I do not have bipolar illness or schizophrenia, either one. I'm taking, for some odd reason, this mental illness drug helps me with a physical problem. But yeast, I would like to say, a person with a systemic yeast infection can have mental problem. I mean, the yeast can affect the brain. So I think I had yeast of the brain. And Jesus is using Seroquel to help me with that. Oh, this itching in my nose, that's all yeast. I'm on the Seroquel and it's clearing out the yeast out of my system. Another thing that I find is doing that is chicken. I thought I was allergic to chicken. I figured out what the problem with chicken is. Chicken is like Seroquel for my guts. Have you ever noticed when you have chicken soup, they always tell you to have that when you have a stomach flu? That's because there's something in chicken broth and chicken soup that clears toxins out of your guts. I figured that out. And that's why I was getting symptoms with chicken. It's not because I'm allergic to it. It's just that my intestines were so loaded with yeast toxin that the chicken soup was overwhelming me with taking the toxins out of my intestinal cells. So now, because I know that, I've gotten back onto chicken, but I take small amounts so I don't overwhelm myself. Excuse me, that's yeast right there. My body's clearing it out. But what Brent and I, and us men and myself, we're not happy with is the Jesuits are stealing pictures and videos of myself or my family members, trying to make it look like my men did it, and they're posting it at their websites without our permission. We have taken them to court and sued them for defamation, libel, copyright infringement, invasion of privacy, and they just keep dragging the case on and on and on, and they won't take their websites down. They come up with, oh, we have this objection. We got this objection. Oh, no. The case has gone on now for like 6 or 8 months. We can't get them to take their websites down or their YouTube channels down. They've got so much money, they could drag this case on until the rapture, which is what I think they plan to do. They have no intentions of taking down crazygail.com or orderofthejesuits.com. Another thing. A lot of well-meaning, stupid relatives tell me that if I take down my YouTube channel and my website, then the Jesuits are going to take down their YouTube channel and their website. Their YouTube channel is Order of the Jesuits, and their website is crazygail.com. You guys are stupid beyond belief. You think an organization as brilliant and stubborn as the Jesuits? There is a writer, a French writer, I forget his name. Jack Chick published his book. He made a statement about the Jesuits. He said they're sly fanatics who do not retreat before anything. I've never heard a truer statement. They never give up. You know what's going to happen? If I was ever dumb enough to take down my YouTube channel or my website, the Jesuits would increase their online presence. They would steal more photos and videos from my family. And then they would claim that me and my men were behind Crazy Gail and Order of the Jesuits. And that I wouldn't have my website there to refute their lies and expose their treachery. It would be worse. My online presence must remain so that I can continue to refute them. If I go down, the Jesuits' online presence will increase. And then they're going to go in for the kill. And they're going to try to eliminate me and all my men. That's what they're trying to do, folks. They deliberately created crazygail.com and Order of the Jesuits YouTube channel to create the impression that my men were behind their satanic, demon-possessed websites. And once they convince the world of that, then they're going to use their evil websites to take down my online presence, which they find a major threat. I'm doing so much damage to them, they have to. That's why they created this website. They've even stated I'm the #1 target of the Jesuit order. It's true. You say, why? You're not anybody. You're not a millionaire. It doesn't matter. They were able to keep Howard Hughes money from me. He's my great uncle. So they're pretty good at keeping money away from their enemies. They know how to do it. They blow up. If somebody like Brent Spiner told me they tried to get me my Pulitzer Prize money for a video I made, and the Jesuits keep blowing up all the trucks bringing the money over. They're good, man. They know how to stop them. Well, I'll get the money when Jesus wants me to get the money, so I'm not worried about it. He'll take care of me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom then shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Even if my enemies come, Jesus will take care of them. He's allowing them to have some victories right now. Jesus promised. He told me that he said, Gail, you are a very important person, more than you realize. He said, I'm going to use you to defeat the Jesuit order. And I keep saying, Jesus, how? He says, Gail, you're as bad as a girl at Christmas who's shaking the presents because you want to see what your Christmas present is. He said, Gail, I can't tell you. But he said, I'm going to. I still go to bed thinking, I wonder how I'm going to do this. He said, I can't do it. I said, you have to do it, Jesus. He said, Gail, but you will be my instrument. You and Brent, he said, will be my instrument. And they do need to go down. They're evil. They were behind the Nazi Holocaust. They're behind that evil crazygail.com. And that's Zach Knight's personal website, by the way. Order of the Jesuits. Don't believe the crap that my men have anything to do with Order of the Jesuits or crazygail.com. My men would have nothing to do with either of those demon-possessed websites. That one website dares to accuse Jesus of breaking a contract. They even admit they're on Satan's side. Okay, let's see. 95% of what's on these websites is true, which makes it even more dangerous. It makes it more believable. And it makes it look like my men are behind them. The best lies, and War on the Saints with Jesse Penn Lewis covers this, is when you present 95% truth with 5% lie. Satan knows how to lie. And if you have an out-and-out brazen lie, nobody's going to fall for your junk. So you got to present 95% truth and then cleverly twist in the lies. They're about 5% lie. That way, all the suckers out there who aren't doing their homework fall for the crap. You see what I'm saying? Jesuits have the best intelligence agents in the world. It's better than the CIA and better than Russia's KGB. Oh, yeah, man. They know how to steal pictures and videos. So don't accuse me and my men of posting that stuff on the Jesuit websites. The Jesuits did it themselves. They just know how to frame their crimes on innocent parties. They're really good at doing this. Just like they blame the Germans for everything that happened in World War II with Nazi Germany. A lot of those Germans, if they didn't go along with what the Jesuits wanted in World War II, they and their families would have been sent to concentration camps where the husband would have gone to one camp and the wife to another camp. Do you think you would have been so righteous in that situation, Americans, huh? If that happened to the United States, we're headed in that direction. And you ought to watch the movie Stalingrad. I have it on my website. It accurately depicts how many of the Germans really felt about World War II while they were fighting in it. A lot of them hated it. But if they didn't follow their leader, Adolf Hitler, they would have been exterminated. I wonder if some Americans would have been any better than those Germans if they were in a similar situation. The Jesuits were behind the Nazi war machine. They financed and supported the Nazi war machine. And then when they realized that Germany was going to lose the war, they snuck out the back window and let the Germans, and they covered their butts and got on a massive press campaign to make it look like it was all the Nazis and the Germans' fault for the Holocaust of the Jews. I'm glad Steven Spielberg made that movie Schindler's List to show that there was one German who didn't like it. Actually, there were a lot of Germans who didn't like it. They were suckered into that war against their will because the Jesuits took over their country through an illegal election that brought Adolf Hitler to power through the Roman Catholic Center Party. A lot of you dodo birds out there don't even know that stuff. You're so stupid, it's unbelievable. That's why you're falling for all this Jesuit crap that me and my men are behind crazygale.com or Order of the Jesuits, because those Jesuits are smart and they know how to brainwash you dumb suckers. Okay, I think I've said enough here. I just had to expose some of their lies so some of the more intelligent people out there will stay up on them. And, you know, it's my job to educate you because you're not going to get the truth anywhere else. The Jesuits think they're above all the laws. So you might say, well, if they're guilty of defamation, you can take down their website. The richest organization on earth. And they keep using their lawyers to bring up one excuse after another. Think, oh, but we can keep our website up because blah, 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 blah. They're going to drag this case on, putting one objection after another, blah, 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 blah. It's going to go on until the rapture. We're not going to be able to take those sites down. They're going to be up until Jesus Christ takes them down himself. They're not going to go down because Jesuits are as stubborn as hell. Okay, I think I pretty much said what I wanted to say. Just don't believe anything about motives or psychiatric diagnoses on those demon-possessed Jesuit webs on the Antichrist website, which is Order of the Jesuits YouTube channel, and the website crazygale.com. Demon-possessed, a website authored by Satan himself, the Antichrist Jesuit Zach Knight.